Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage channel, and I have a fair few random things to show you guys today. You can probably see them on your screen sort of drifting off in the distance. These are all sort of random things designed to use the relatively new piston blocks, with the exception of this little ship over here, which is just to give you a taste of some crazy stuff that I'll be seeing later down the line, literally, because it's a line of stuff that way. But anyway, this is, well, it's a pretty simple ship. It's just got a reactor in the center of these things shooting off to the side, a small cargo container there that I can access just to have controls on this, and then it's got a rotor and a thruster at either end of these little sticks sticking out. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into spectator mode right now. There's a bit of a spoiler of stuff to come. Let's fly all the way down here and get ourselves a good angle on this, because this thing will probably start moving pretty quickly. You might want to switch to that. So let's go up to this, and if we were to look inside its controls, you will see that a control panel here has thrusters, but they're set to maximum thrust, and rotors set to be spinning at their maximum speed with no braking. And we have, of course, our large reactor. That's all that we really got in here. So what we're going to do is turn on that large reactor, and right away you can see this thing pretty much takes off and just starts spinning itself around randomly. It's actually quite entertaining to watch. I'll actually hop back to my character because that buzzed away so quickly. We'll go ahead and paste another one of these in right here. And so you can see, sometimes that one, the previous one, flew off right away. This one sort of ended up drifting in a different direction, almost stable at first. So let's just paste a few more of these in here, and you can see they're actually quite interesting. And they sort of end up drifting in the same direction, but if I was to copy this now and paste it, I bet you it'll start going in a slightly different direction, because those thrusters' starting point will be wherever they were when I copied them. Pretty dang interesting. I actually find these really sort of mesmerizing to look at. So they're pretty cool. I like these a whole lot. Anyway, let's move on from that to this thing here. This one actually requires to restart the game, because this one may cause us some lag. You might even be able to notice I am experiencing a small amount of slowdown on my move, but you can see at the back of this random ship here, there are a million little pistons here, so it's sort of a tendril beast of sorts. So let's go ahead and hop into the cockpit, and I can show you what this one does, of course. So cockpit here, a bit of slowdown, so it's a bit hard to control. There we go, hop in here, and we can start flying forward. And actually I'll go to F8 mode to position my camera, and then we'll do F9 so I have control of that vehicle still, even though I'm doing a left turn now, and as I turn you can see the tendrils sort of get bouncy and wobbly. It's actually pretty cool looking. If I try to turn back to my right, it'll of course pull them back the other way and sort of give them this whip pattern. I've done F8 again, of course, to get in control so we can see them drifting, and it's actually pretty damn cool to see. I actually like these a whole lot. Now, of course, what we can do, if I was to do F9 again to have control of the cockpit, press K, I have all my pistons grouped, so I can tell these now to expand, and very quickly the system here doesn't really want to respond, but there we go. We get back in here, and you see they're all attempting to expand as the ship moves forward. Yeah, it's a very, very strange sight, and we actually get a bit of lag here. It's pretty dang awesome looking, though. I actually love the way that looks, like some sort of gigantic space sea beast thing. And of course, you might be noticing a few of these look like they're not connected anymore. That's just because, of course, they're getting farther away. So as they get farther away, the level of detail shift happens again, so it gets rid of the actual piston blocks in between the main blocks themselves. But they're all still connected. These actually look like they didn't expand all that much, which is fairly odd. It's possible they broke, or it's possible everything is actually expanded, but the actual the physical models aren't lining up where the game thinks they should be, but they're really there. You get what I'm saying? They're actually moved out to full extent, but the models that we're seeing don't match where the game thinks they actually are. It's a possibility that we'll have to keep in mind. So it's pretty cool. And of course, if I do the F9, I can have control of this ship again and try to move it, and that will cause all of these to do some pretty strange things there. Actually, let's do oh, no. Ooh. Well, that's actually pretty beautiful looking as it drifts past the screen. But let's do a F6 mode to get back into here. And you can see now the huge mess of these behind is drifting along. And if I do some more of this, I am holding W, D, and E to attempt to rotate us around. We can get a nice swing here. And we're going to have to actually be careful here, because there's a good chance that once it gets all the way out there, they're going to, fling past. And let's actually swap over to F8 mode again. And you can see a huge swath of these flying by. It's pretty dang cool. Let's go ahead and hit our F9 mode and turn on our inertial dampeners. Jesus, that looks cool. Imagine that being at the front of the ship. But let's turn on our inertial dampeners. The whole thing is going to attempt to slow up now. And you see as it attempts to slow up, it gets swung around, and these get flung about this way. And actually, I suspect they're going to keep getting swung about. Ooh, I don't know. That's actually pretty awesome. Let's actually buzz in here. Because how cool does that look? Oh, I love that. It's like something out of the Matrix. People really didn't like the later Matrix movies, but I did think they were pretty artistically interesting, and seeing all the machines buzzing around and stuff. And you see some of these are actually colliding with each other and having wee bits of trouble, but it's all in all pretty dang awesome. I like this a lot. It's I don't know, it's just pretty cool to see it spinning about like that. I don't know, I always find these pistons quite mesmerizing to see them just buzzing about and all that. Anyway, let's move on from this. That's the basics of this. You can do some silliness with this. A bit of fun to watch. And actually, I think we might have seen it right there, what I was talking about earlier. Some of the models were not showing up properly. No, they all look fine now. Anyway, let's go ahead and buzz back to some of the other things. And actually, to do that, I'm going to first off take this ship and attempt to aim it back at the Sage Station over there. And so let's turn and get back over there so I can jump another ship. And it's actually pretty awesome to see these dangling out from the whole thing. Look at that. As I turn, they're swung out. And of course, now that I've tried to stop turning, they're going to hit at their far point and start being thrown the other way again, which will cause me to turn some more. Yep, there we go. See, we're suddenly turning. I'm not trying to turn it. It's pretty cool. Pretty awesome. Okay, so that's not working. I can't actually control the ship really at all. It sort of has a mind of its own. So, yeah, I'm just going to have to reload this, but again, that is pretty dang awesome to see drifting about, that huge mass of tendrils. Yeah, I just love that. Reloading. Alrighty, so I've reloaded. I'm going to paste a few more of these in here just to get us some randomness in the world. I'm hoping these will actually cause themselves to drift around in a huge, almost orbit around where I pasted them, but no promises. Anyway, let's go on and move on to some of the other things that I have to show here. And to do that, I'm actually going to hop in this little buggy here. That way we can get around a bit quicker than we would otherwise. Because to do a lot of this, I cannot be in spectator mode. I need the actual controls, of course. So here we go. This is our first little something. And this is pretty straightforward. It is just a, well, sort of like we had before, where we have the singular reactor in the middle and some things shooting off of it, except for at the ends of these we have nothing. But the way I activate this one, unlike the other one, is I just use a control panel right here. I have a group with all the pistons, and for this one I'm just going to tell them to reverse really quickly, and you can see as they go out they sort of, you know, it's go and stop, go and stop. It's a bit strange. I'm not quite sure why they do it. It happens when you have multiple pistons. I think they sort of run into each other and push each other close, but you can see this one, it reaches that far point, and then it sort of ends up with this wobbly state, which is actually pretty cool of it, I don't know, just drifting about like this. Sort of, I just love the fact that this stuff makes it look like everything's underwater almost, the way things move. It's very, very interesting. Let's move on to the next one down there. So let me get back in my little ship and buzz up there really quickly. This one's just going to keep dancing forever. We could actually, before I do that, you want to try to retract them again and see what happens, shall we? This is slightly more difficult than I would hope, but I can get over here and try to grab this control panel. And you can see from over here, it's not just an up and down wobble, they actually wobble in, well, many different directions in 3 dimensions. And let's try to hopefully grab this. Finally, I cannot express how long that actually took me. There was a cut there. That took a long time. Let's grab the pistons, tell them to reverse now. And that's so weird to see that thing retract away, and you see the whole thing almost crumples up now because, of course, as they reach inwards, they sort of hit each other, and it's almost like a squid fighting with itself, except for it's only got 6 arms. That's kind of terrifying. If that was actually coming towards me in real life, I'd be afraid it would hit me and kill me. Yeah, pretty interesting. And of course, if I was to copy this now and paste another one, since it's in such a weird state, it should also have a bit of squiggle, but of course it's not going to have as much squiggle as original because they didn't just contract. But of course, if I was to go ahead and spin one of these and paste it, it gives it some motion. Some weirdness might happen, but apparently not. Anyway, let's move on to the next one for real this time. So let me grab my ship and fly up there. So I actually ended up reloading because, well, as you might guess, having that many of those floaty, random, drifty things caused a little trouble with the latency and slowdown. So I've restarted. This one is pretty much the exact same thing, except for on this one we have thrusters on the ends of it. So what we can do is select our thrusters and turn them on, as well as our, well, actually we can just turn on the thrusters if we like. And you can see it does this sort of interesting dance that is actually quite beautiful. and it almost spins itself around. Now, of course, these could end up shearing through each other if we're not cautious. So you can see some wonderful little bounces there as it's reaching the far points and then whiplashing back with their rockets. It's actually, well, pretty dang awesome, I think. I believe my next one up there actually is the same thing, but this time we'll actually go ahead and expand the pistons as well. That way we get a bit more to be seen, even though this is pretty awesome. If we had a few of these, they'd actually look pretty awesome. Shall I risk needing to restart again to have a few of these buzzing about? I think so. Because it just creates such a beautiful sight to see. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty cool looking. And of course these, as I paste them in, are a bit slower to start because they're not up to that original speed that the first one had. And they're almost shearing through each other, it looks like up there. That's pretty dang awesome. I love these things. They remind me so much of the little droids from the Matrix. I say little. Anyway, let me restart one more time. Alrighty, here we are. The next one's the same exact thing as that one. I could have actually used it again since I did reload. And let's go ahead and click on here. We're going to first off on this one tell our pistons to reverse, and then we're going to tell our thrusters to turn on. So there you go. You can see the pistons are attempting to expand out, but of course instantly we're being countered for a second there by the thrusters and then pushed inwards. And the dance this time is slightly more erratic, I'd actually say. At the far points, so with these things buzzing around farther away, you see two of them almost hit over there. Oops, this one's suddenly wow, that nearly hit my ship. Wowzers. Okay, that's okay. It reminded me of something from Gravity now with all the ropes buzzing about. So yeah, you can see this one, actually I think the whole thing is now shifting and moving. It's fairly odd to see, frankly. But very beautiful again as per last time. I mean, my ship basically just, I think it got bumped there, but basically went through a loop that they'd made. That was pretty awesome. Wow. I'm amazed these are not colliding more. Jesus. And this one's actually apparently propelled itself out into space in a way. Imagine flying out there in the depths of space and suddenly seeing that weird thing buzzing around. You wouldn't even know what to do, I don't think. Let's go ahead and move on right away since this one's getting a little hard to see to our next one down there. So let me hop in my ship and get over there. Alrighty, so here I am at the next one. Believe it or not, I've actually reloaded once again because there was slowdown even with that. And this one's a bit different because this one, instead of having the thrusters pointing directly outwards as for the previous ones, this one actually has them at the side. So it's very similar to the original thing I showed you ages back. So for this one, let's go ahead and cut straight to the chase. We're going to tell our thrusters and our pistons to both turn on at the same time. Actually, I just turned off the pistons. I didn't actually tell them to expand. Wow. That is so weird looking. Look at that. They almost straightened out for a second there and then twisted back in again. It's mesmerizing. They're actually twisting together a bit and every now and again seem to get untwisted. Two of them over there, look at that. They twisted together like completely there for a second and untwisted again. Wow, once again, this whole thing seems to be moving. It's actually moving in a very interesting way. It's not just being propelled by the thrusters, of course. This momentum of the ropes, you know, of the pistons being flung out in one direction, they sort of hit and snag, and it causes the whole thing to move. Damn, that is so cool. Oh, and there's an impact. There's some damage there. I don't know what's actually happened. Everything looks like... Oh, no, there. One of them did get separated and is drifting away, as we would have expected. Dang, that is so cool. I'm amazed more of them haven't broken because they are colliding. Wow. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and get to the next one right away. And this time, I don't think I'll need to reload. Let's actually go ahead and turn this one on, and we'll actually expand the pistons this time. So let's get to here. That's so cool. Now you can barely even see it, but you can still see the blue flames dancing about. And it does look like it's dancing. Okay, let's go to here, control panel. Let's tell our pistons to reverse and our thrusters to turn on. So there we go. Ooh. Ooh, hello. Hi. Okay, that caught me off guard. So there we go. Those, I let the pistons actually expand a fair amount before I turned on those thrusters. So it got out there pretty far, and then they started looping back on themselves. And you see this, the one that was near me, it's actually taking quite some time to get sucked back into the middle. But it's starting to get there. These are very strange. That's actually kind of scary. Wow, look at that. Okay, that did hit me. I was hoping it would be a close call. You see some desync there or something where the actual piston block and the expandable parts are not exactly lining up, which is fairly strange, but also very interesting. I actually think I liked it better when it actually stayed close, because it sort of meshed together and twisted up faster and quicker. But Still pretty awesome. Wow, look at that. It's nearly touching the center point with the thruster somehow. Whoa, and something happened there. A bunch of blocks just went flying past me. But apparently it was just a desync because I'm not actually seeing any separated pieces. Look at that. Some sort of weird desync. I think it's actually going through the other one, but it's not counting as actually destroying it for some reason because the actual piston, you know, the 2-piston block actually counts as being connected to the other one still, while the actual extended bits have been destroyed. I think that's what's happening. God, it's so strange and mesmerizing. Whoa, yeah, okay. Hey there, how you doing? Wow, that's cool. Okay, let's see, shall I reload? Yeah, we're getting some slowdown, so I'll reload before we move on to the next ones, just so it's not really laggy. God, that's so cool. And here we are at the last one, so pretty much the exact same thing as that very first one I showed you with the rotor on the end and the thruster, but of course now they have piston arms. So let's go ahead and just turn on those. And for this one, of course, I didn't have control over there. I have it exactly like the very first one. I had control here. So let's go ahead and just turn on those rotors and thrusters. And to do that, we'll just turn on the reactor on the inside. And right away, that's very strange. This is actually the first one I've turned on from the center. And you can see with this one, they're sort of... Oh, wow. Hey, some weirdness going on there, eh? Wow, look at that. I love how the center cube is almost just like, I call it a cube, but the center block there is like sort of just being pulled along strangely as the ropes reach their far limits and swack back. Wow, it's so weird to see. And some of the thrusters actually seem like they're staying in a singular direction for a while. I wonder what that's about. Is that because the whole rope is twisting, which causes it to look like the thruster is actually pointing in one direction, even though the rotor is spinning? And wow, look at that one on the left. Did you see that for a second? It actually twisted around another one without actually getting caught, and then somehow got free again. It's such a mesmerizing sight to see. I love this. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Oh, wow, look how those two just got twisted around each other. They're still twisted. Oh, no, they've sort of untwisted again. That's so amazing how that happens. Wow, that's cool. Okay, let's go back to the last one. Where am I? I drifted that far away, eh? 300 meters. Anyway, let's go back to the last one. It's the same exact thing as the one I just turned on, but now this time, of course, I'm going to go ahead and expand the pistons as well as turn on the rotors and the thrusters. And to do that, of course, I'm going to go up to that same control panel I was at the top here. Should be, yep, right there. When I say control panel, of course, it is actually a small cargo container. So hop in here, control panel, pistons tell you to reverse. There we go. And now I'll turn on the large reactor. So click. And then once again, you can see they're attempting to expand, but then of course the thrusters are throwing them in a bit of a loop. And the whole thing is now actually spinning. Wow, that is very, very interesting. Oh, wow. I thought those two were just about to collide. Again, I think I'm liking the version where I kept the pistons taut more. This is very interesting. The other one, the way it just tangled up on itself was... Wow, it was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Huh. These are much bigger loops, so it's not actually colliding as frequently. Oh, wow, okay. So they just had a bit of fun there. Again, I think it's just taking out the actual expandable blocks where the 2x1 actual piston blocks are still counting as connected to each other. It's so very, very strange. And basically it's allowing it to pass through itself. And you see somehow they're still trying to connect as they're buzzing about all over. And I've just realized I've flown almost to the center of this thing. God, look at that weirdness. Look how many of those are missing now. They keep spurging out like they're trying to get back there, or somehow still connected. That is some grade A strangeness right there. Wow. God, that is cool. Anyway, that's it, guys. I thought I'd share this crazy weirdness with you guys. I'll probably put it up on the Steam Workshop within a day or so if you'd like to play around with these yourself. Beware, if you do not have a very powerful machine, you might find yourself in some laggy trouble, but try it nonetheless. You might get some issues like that even sooner than me, and heck, those might be worth recording yourself. Or at least interesting to see. God, it's so, they're like butterflies or something once they glitch out like that, because they're spinning around is what they're doing, but they're not straight up and down on themselves anymore. They seem to be spinning around with themselves at an angle. It's the best way I can describe it. So you sort of see them at 2 points, like 1 millisecond after the other, which makes them look like they're almost triangular shaped, like a butterfly wing flapping about somewhere or something strange like that. It's very strange. This one seems to be much more unstable than the other one, causing that glitch there. Wow, that is very, very odd. Let's go ahead and copy this one right before I leave, shall we? We'll paste it right there. And so it should collide with itself, or with the original one, I think. No, not so much. It is interesting to see how this one is starting out, because of course it's already expanded now, and now it's starting to spin about. That is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Wow. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I don't think I have... Oh, I do have room to paste that. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.